It's nice to be somewhere where you can just hear the sound of birds all the time. I got up pretty early this morning. I am trying to get some semblance of a routine built back in while I'm here. Everything's pretty flexible when I'm traveling, which is great. That's how it should be, I think. But I'm trying to make sure that I'm doing movement and breath work as regularly as possible. So last night before bed, I did some breath work, and then this morning I got up just after 6 and I ended up doing some new breath work that I've never done before. So I woke up and did some of that this morning, made myself a coffee, and it's just so nice to be able to sit outside. I genuinely just enjoy being up early. I think the days can get so busy and there's always so much going on that I don't know, I just love waking up with the birds, I guess, before anyone else is really awake, before things are really happening, before my brain starts to get busy again. I was kind of doing a lot of back and forth because I was struggling to wake up early, and I was thinking, well, don't force it if you're struggling. But the days that I do get myself to get up early, it doesn't matter if I'm tired later in the day because the day itself still feels so much better. So yeah, just some morning thoughts. I'm gonna finish my coffee and yeah. So I've recently started a course on breath work and cold exposure. I've been trying to do a little bit of painting, which has been a bit of a struggle for me because I just always want it to be good. And that's usually not how it is when you start or when you haven't done something in a long time. I've really been trying to do more things lately that excite me and ground me. I feel like I've been focusing on work a lot, and while that has been necessary, I always have to remind myself that I need to be doing other things or I'm going to very easily burn myself out with work. I've just been trying to romanticize life a little bit, spend time in the sunshine, be creative, write, paint, go for walks, listen to music, sit in the grass, do a lot of journaling and sorting through my thoughts. And it's all been really wonderful. I just hope that I can continue doing all of these things when I head back to Canada in the next week and a half or so. But only time will tell, and I'm just gonna do my best to build good habits right now while I'm feeling up to it. I just wrote a post on my Patreon, actually a couple days ago, talking about how I define what counts as writing. Because I was talking in this post about the fact that I am doing these weekly updates and I feel like I have nothing to post about because I didn't work specifically on Between the Waves. And because that's what I've been talking about, and it feels like in the niche genre of AuthorTube, if you will, that I tend to participate in, I feel like I can only talk about Between the Waves because when that is something that I post about often, it's something I talk about on my channel very often, and when I see other AuthorTubers making content, it's generally about the main project that they're working on. So even though I know, logically, it's not it's not true. I can post about whatever I want on YouTube. It's my channel, and if you all want to see it, you'll stay and watch, and if you don't, you'll leave. But like, it's so much easier said than done. I just always feel like I have to be talking about Between the Waves. But I also think that I'm getting better at kind of dissolving those perceptions and those rules that I've given myself, which I think is a good thing. I think it's going to open up way more variety on my channel. I can talk about my other writing projects, which are exciting, including poetry things as well as documentary things. But yeah, documentary type videos take a long time, so don't expect that too soon, but still. But yeah, I feel like I kind of processed it a little bit. I've been thinking about this concept of like, why do I feel like I can only talk about Between the Waves on the channel? And I do feel like I'm starting to, kind of remove those rules from myself, and I've been journaling and doing affirmations and trying to remind myself that I don't need to post about Between the Waves. I don't need to be working on Between the Waves constantly. People take months off all the time. Like, people take time off their big project, and I still want to post. Like, I still want to be on YouTube. So it's only natural that I talk about things that aren't Between the Waves so that I can, consistently be part of this community. And honestly, like, the last day or two, I have felt much better about it. Like, I've felt the pressure release a little bit, and I've felt like, actually, it's okay if you take a few weeks to a month or two off of writing Between the Waves and you wait until the inspiration hits you again. And the funny thing about that is that I feel like when you have a creative brain and you try to apply a lot of rules to it, it doesn't like that. It does not go well, it rebels, and it's just, you can't restrict it like that, which I think is kind of what I was doing. Like, I was really trying to put the pressure on my brain to produce this book, basically, when it didn't want to do that. And the funny thing about actually making some progress in the release of that pressure over the past week or so has resulted in me sitting on my computer today and just like getting this urge to open up Word, and then a following urge to open up my draft 3 document, and then another urge to actually work on Between the Waves, which I did. I actually spent some time working on Between the Waves today. I wrote a little bit, but then I made a bunch of notes, and then I made the decision to let the chaos reign. I just need to remove all the rules, get back in that free-flowing creative space again. So the update is that the way that I'm writing right now is full chaos. Some paragraphs are like, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, but I want this person to be angrier about it. Or, and then this happens, and they see this plant that they're walking by. The most mundane, basic, explanatory shit. There are lists, I've written just point form lists of what's gonna happen, bullet notes. There are so many more comments in the document now. I have been adding comments left, right, and center. And maybe this is what I should have been doing the whole time, because I know that the last part of this book is hugely new drafting. It's pretty much a brand new ending. But it's funny because when you've been editing something for so long and you've been trying to stick within the confines and the context of the story that you've already written, it's really hard to switch back over to that creative drafting brain that actually feels like it can just do whatever the hell it wants. So I feel like over the last little while of working on not putting so much pressure on myself and telling myself that it's okay if I take a long break, and it's okay if I don't write anything, and it's okay if I write something that's completely random and it doesn't matter. By doing that, it's like reverse psychology, and now my brain is like, you know what? Actually, I have an idea. So it's funny how the brain works, and mine specifically, I guess. I'm sure some of you can relate, though. I feel like a lot of you can relate. But yeah, that's where we're at. It's been kind of funny. And I just wanted to give a little update and chat through some of my thoughts, as usual. sitting on the wet ground, also desperately hoping that you can hear me a little better if I use my phone to record, because I feel like I love recording outside and I love sitting down and chatting out in the yard, but the birds here are just so stoked to be alive and they never shut up about it, and good for them, honestly. But also, if I want to film out here, obviously that doesn't work very well. I have 2 new books to show you, one of which is the collection I was talking about. It's called Furies, and it is a collection of stories and prose, I believe, from various different authors, and it is all based around feminism, which I'm very excited about. And the intro to this book is hilarious and just steeped in sarcasm, so we're already a big fan. It's a bit drier right here, so I've decided to shift. So this book I initially heard about because I follow Maddie Martinez on Instagram, which big news that way. Maddie got a 2-book deal with, Brig, I should know. I'm going to post the Publishers Marketplace post here. And she just got a book deal for a book that I read the first chapter of a year or a year and a half ago, and it was fantastic. So if that first chapter says anything about the quality that it's at now, I'm excited for it, and you should all be as well. And if you're able to, you should go add it on Goodreads. I will leave links for all of that down below. Super excited for her. It's going to be a really good story. It's called The Maiden and Her Monster. Anyways, check her out. I'm going to leave all her links down before. Very excited. Massive congratulations to her. And I follow her on Instagram, and last year, I think, she shared this author, Camilla Cole. So I remember hearing a little bit about it, and specifically the author, and then I remember seeing a post from Maddie about like this author getting published and the excitement around that. So I've seen the cover very many times just because of following Maddie on Instagram. So then when I was at the shop yesterday, I decided to read the back, realized that it was about dragons. I read the back and I was like, why did I not look into this book sooner? And I bought it because dragons and, I don't know, badass women, I guess. That's really all it takes. That's all it takes to get me to buy a book. So yeah, I bought So Let Them Burn by Camilla Cole. I am 1 chapter in, and it looks like it's going to be dual POV between 2 sisters. I am enjoying it so far. So that is what we're reading. I'm excited. I was just in Berlin for a few days with my friend Yanina, who has been on this channel before a long time ago. I met her in university, so in 2015, so almost 10 years ago, which is just like wild to think about. But when I come to Holland, I try to pop over to Germany to visit her because it's just really not that far in the grand scheme of things. So I spent some time with her, did not vlog anything really, didn't do much more than just the bare minimum work that I needed to do. I didn't write, but I did read So Let Them Burn, the book that I showed you. But I started reading So Let Them Burn about a week ago, and I am nearly done. I have less than 100 pages left. So even though I'm tired and I do have a couple of hours of work to do tonight, I'm gonna have an afternoon coffee and I'm gonna finish the book because I am loving it. There is enough romance to keep me happy. The fantasy is wonderful. The world is fleshed out so that it's like super believable. The politics and culture, I'm starting to learn that this is one of the things that I love about fantasy these days. It used to just be, I loved like the magic system and the world building. And I think I also used to find like religions to be very, very interesting to learn about and to write about. And lately, politics and like societal structures within fantasy worlds have been so fascinating for me. And this book does an incredible job. I am less than 100 pages left, and I'm gonna finish it in the next couple of hours, but I would recommend it, honestly. I'm not done, but I would recommend it. was just watching Chris's new video, which I will link down below. It's like a writer pep talk, basically, which I feel like I really needed. And it's also a really nice reminder from someone who has been writing their entire life, like a lot of us have. It's just interesting to see the perspective from someone who is like actively doing it right now, and getting kind of a pep talk from her regarding bringing yourself, I don't know, back down to earth is what I want to say, and reminding yourself of the reasons that you're writing. Because she talks about if your reason for writing and your motivation for writing is publishing, often that's not enough for us as writers. Like, that's not enough to keep us motivated. It's not enough to keep us excited. It's not enough to give us the energy and the determination to be able to write the stories that we really want to write. For some people, publishing success can be the one motivator, but for a lot of us, it never was growing up, and therefore it can't really be now. Like it just probably won't work. It probably won't be enough. So I was just watching her video, and it was honestly really grounding, because I've been thinking about that a lot lately, and I've been reminding myself why I write and kind of digging a little deeper. And I think I've been forgetting that lately, and I also think that that's why the progress on Between the Waves keeps slowing down. I keep getting swayed by what's going to be more publishable and what's going to work the best, and getting nervous that what I'm writing is not going to be good enough to publish. And I really need to pull myself out of that mindset, and I really need to keep reminding myself that I write because I just love these stories so much, and I love these characters, and I want to be able to write and share stories and characters and magical worlds that were, such an integral part of my life growing up, and that stories just keep coming to me. Like, and maybe one day they'll stop coming to me, I'll never have another idea, and maybe I'll kind of stop then, but like this is, I have reasons for writing that are removed from publishing. I have reasons for writing that would keep me writing even if there was a guarantee that I would never get published. Like, if I never had the chance to publish, there are reasons that I would continue writing, and those are the ones that I need to be focusing on, rather than I want to get this story out into the world one day, even though that is the case. Anyways, go watch that video. It was wonderful, very grounding, nice reminder. I'm sure I'll watch it again. I also wanted to do a little bit of a Between the Waves check-in before I end off this vlog. I've been doing a lot of work on world building. An issue that I was running into I've kind of mentioned it before, it had to do with the types of mages or types of magic wielders that I had in the book, and it's just been a little bit confusing for me, because there's different levels of people who can control magic and people who can use magic, and initially I had gods or godlike beings in the world, and it has since sort of shifted. They're still kind of godlike in the way that they're more powerful than most others, but I don't know, what they are is changing and becoming something entirely unique to the story, I guess, and unique to the world building, which makes sense, but it just means that there's more to figure out, because I can't really follow like a blueprint of how they should be. So I've been doing a bunch of work on that. I've also been doing like kind of a restructuring or a bunch of brainstorming around how the world is set up, because if you remember, originally the world was split into 9 realms, 9 different kingdoms, 9 different realms, and the way that you get between them is through these like portals. Something about the setup of the world hasn't been working, and I think that the solution might be as easy as just changing like the backstory, changing how those things happen, but it's still something that I'm kind of stuck with, and it is affecting the ending, which is like, now I'm at the ending of Between the Waves, and I still haven't been able to write it, because I haven't been able to figure out the answers to these questions around the world and like how the things happened. And I just feel like these were things that I should have figured out at the beginning, and that I thought I had figured out, but then they changed. So sometimes it's kind of difficult to give progress updates, because I am making progress, but it's kind of like I have this massive, overwhelming pile of ideas and possibilities and potential, and that pile is like the size of a house, and I am slowly sifting through it to find a smaller pile that's closer to the size of like a watermelon. And that's the pile of ideas and potential that are actually going to be built into the story. So it's just taking a long time to sort through everything and reorganize myself. And like I kind of already mentioned, the idea of publishing has kind of been affecting that a little bit, because I'm like, well, what would work? I find myself, like, I'll catch myself thinking thoughts that are like, what would work better with publishing? And then I'm like, no, we're not doing that. It doesn't matter what would work better with publishing, because when you think of it that way, I get shoved off course of like my actual purpose of the story. But it was so much easier to avoid those thoughts when I was like a teenager and publishing wasn't even an option. And now that it is a potential reality, I'm really working through this like mentally. But there's always a balance, and I am just swinging back and forth and trying to swing less and less and get a bit more balanced. I'm gonna end the vlog here because it actually has to go up now, pretty much. I hope you've enjoyed this collection of moments, thoughts, and days in my life as a writer trying to navigate being present online. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to smile, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.